Welcome to the Man of Standards podcast.
Great to be here.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really thought-provoking piece. It's titled, God Might Not Be Fixing It Because He's Forming You.
Yeah, that title really grabs you, doesn't it? It suggests a whole different way of looking at things when life gets tough.
It really does. Instead of just, wanting the problem gone, it asks us to think about what God might be doing in us through the problem.
Exactly. The central idea is that these hard times, these storms we go through, maybe they aren't just meant to disappear immediately.
Right. Maybe they're actually crucial for our growth, for our personal spiritual development.
That's the core concept, that God often uses these situations not just to deliver us from them, but actually for shaping us, for development, and sometimes even for, direction.
So the aim for us today, and for you listening, is to kind of explore this lens. Maybe you can shift how you see your current struggles.
Moving from just wanting that quick fix.
Yeah, wanting the contractor to come in.
To maybe understanding there's a deeper formative purpose happening right now.
And the source material, it breaks this down really well, starting with why these storms might even happen.
It talks about two main purposes.
Okay, let's dive into that. The two purposes of storms. First up is development.
Right. And it uses that powerful image, comparing it to gold being refined by fire, from Malachi.
Ah, yeah. The idea that intense heat doesn't destroy the gold.
No, it purifies it, burns away the impurities, makes it stronger, more brilliant.
So hardships can do that for us. Strip away flaws, strengthen our core.
That's the analogy. And it links this straight to the New Testament too, Romans 5, right?
Yes, verses 3 and 4. How suffering produces perseverance.
Perseverance produces character.
And character produces hope. It's like a chain reaction.
Exactly, a process. So these development storms, as the piece calls them, they're not pleasant, obviously.
Definitely not.
But they stretch our faith, maybe push us to pray more deeply, or perhaps humble us in ways we needed.
It makes you think about muscles. You need resistance to get stronger. Maybe faith is like that sometimes.
That's a good way to put it. It's about who we become through the challenge.
Okay, so that's development. What's the second purpose?
Direction. This one's interesting too. It suggests sometimes the difficulty isn't about making us stronger on our current path,
But about nudging us onto a different one.
or maybe even a shove, depending on the situation. It uses the story of Jonah.
Ah, Jonah and the whale.
Yeah.
Well, the big fish in the storm before that.
Right, the storm that came up because he was disobeying, running the wrong way.
So that storm wasn't random. It had a specific purpose.
Yeah.
Get Jonah back on track.
Exactly. It was a course correction, even though he fought it initially.
And there's that proverb too, isn't there, about us making plans.
Proverbs 16.9, we plan our course, but the Lord establishes our steps.
So these directional storms, they might feel like major disruptions,
Yeah, totally unwelcome sometimes.
but they could be guiding us somewhere better or somewhere we're actually meant to be.
It's a challenging thought because we usually just want the disruption to stop.
Which leads right into the next point the piece makes, how easily we can misinterpret what God is actually doing.
Oh, definitely. We tend to have expectations, right?
We do. And the piece highlights this contrast. Seeing God as a contractor versus a companion.
Explain that a bit, the contractor idea.
Well, like calling a handyman.
Yeah.
You have a problem, leaky faucet, broken fence, you call it contractor. Expect them to come in, fix it quickly, and leave.
So we pray like that. God, here's the problem. Please fix it now.
Kind of, yeah. We want the immediate solution. We expect him to just remove the obstacle.
But the piece suggests his primary role often isn't contractor, but companion.
Right. Someone who walks with us through the valley, not just teleports us out of it. It references Psalm 23.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. The emphasis is on with me.
Exactly. His presence in the struggle is the promise.
And here's the danger the piece points out. If we're only looking for the contractor,
We might miss the companion entirely.
or worse, mistake his companionship for neglect. Like, why isn't he fixing this? He must not be here, or he doesn't care.
When really, he might be right there beside us, offering strength and presence, but just not in the fix-it mode we demanded.
That lack of discernment, it can lead to feeling really isolated, can it?
Totally. And the piece uses that example of Jesus in the boat with the disciples during the storm.
Right. Sometimes he calmed the storm instantly, but other times.
He just got in the boat with them, shared the experience, offered his peace, right there in the middle of the chaos.
His presence was the anchor, even when the waves were still high.
So, okay, If we're in that place feeling like God hasn't fixed it, what does this perspective suggest we do? How do we respond practically?
Well, the first thing is crucial. Consciously recognize his presence. Shift the focus
And what are the size of the ways?
to the one who's in the boat with you. Intentionally look for signs of his presence, his faithfulness, even amidst the trouble.
And the peace suggests changing our prayers.
Yeah, moving from Lord, fix it, to something more like, Lord, walk with me through this, show me you're here.
That's a big shift. It's less about demanding an outcome.
And more about seeking connection and reliance within the situation. It taps into that promise, I am with you always.
Okay, so recognize his presence. What's next?
Reframe your mindset. This is about actively choosing how you interpret the trial itself.
Instead of just seeing it as a negative thing, an obstacle.
Consider if it might be preparation. Could this problem actually be getting you ready for something else?
That reminds me of James 1. Consider it pure joy when you face trials, which sounds crazy sometimes.
It does on the surface, but the point isn't to pretend you're happy about the pain. It's about recognizing the potential outcome. Endurance, character, maturity.
Like the athlete enduring tough training for the sake of the race.
Exactly. So the practical application here is shifting the question.
From why me?
To the, Lord, what are you showing me? What are you teaching me through this?
That opens you up to learning, doesn't it? Instead of just resisting.
Right. It changes your posture from victim to student in a way.
Okay. Presence. Reframing.
Yeah.
There's a third response.
Respond with trust. And a powerful way to express that trust is through praise.
Praising God even when things haven't changed. That's tough.
It is. It's deeply counterintuitive sometimes, but the piece points to Habakkuk.
Oh, yeah. Though the fig tree does not bud, yet I will rejoice.
Exactly. Even when everything seems barren, unproductive, falling apart, choosing to rejoice in God himself, not just in his gifts or fixes.
Wow. That's profound faith.
It is. And the application is worship in the rain. Don't wait for the storm to pass.
Find reasons to thank him now for his character, his promises, his presence, even if the circumstances stink.
That act of praise in itself can shift your focus and strengthen your trust immensely.
So all these responses, recognizing presence, reframing, trusting through praise, they lead to this deeper purpose the piece talks about.
Which circles back to the beginning, really. God might not be moving the mountain.
Because he's using the mountain to move you.
Exactly. The process itself is transformative. His main goal might not just be demonstrating his power,
But revealing his presence.
and the piece makes a key distinction there. Power can be impressive. An instant fix might feel amazing momentarily.
But it's his presence, that ongoing relationship and companionship, that truly changes us from the inside out, that has the lasting impact.
Right. One is temporary relief, the other is deep transformation.
So it encourages a shift in what we're seeking. Are we just looking for an escape route?
Or are we seeking an encounter with God within the difficulty? Because that encounter is where the real gold lies.
And it ends with this really challenging thought. Our expectation of God often shapes our experience of God.
Yeah, if you're only looking for the contractor God.
You might miss the companion God who's been walking beside you all along, doing a much deeper work.
It's a call to maybe broaden our view of how God works and what his primary goals might be for us in those tough seasons. It's not always about immediate comfort.
Sometimes it's about formation, about becoming more like the person he created us to be.
Resilient, faithful, hopeful, deeply connected to him.
So this deep dive into God might not be fixing it because he's forming you, it really does offer a more, I think, empowering perspective on challenges.
Yeah, it reframes them not just as things to endure, but as potential opportunities for real growth, maybe even important redirection.
And the core message seems to be, seek his presence through it all. Lean into his guidance. Trust the companion.
Even when, especially when, the quick fix isn't happening.
It leaves you with some big questions to ponder, doesn't it, for yourself, for you listening?
Definitely. Am I looking for a contractor or a companion right now?
And how could seeing my current challenge as potential formation, rather than just frustration, change how I navigate it?
Could there be growth happening here that I'm missing because I'm only focused on the problem?
Powerful questions to sit with.
Indeed.
Well, thank you for listening to the Mana Standards Podcast.